Hey everybody, and welcome back to another one of Mudflap's movie reviews. My name is Mudflap, and today I will be reviewing the first episode of part 2 of the Netflix original show Ozark. Let's get started. So this episode is called The Cousin of Death, and it's directed by Amanda Marsalis. And before I get into reviewing this episode, I'm just going to do a quick recap of episode 7 where we left off. So there will be a couple spoilers, so just in case you aren't caught up with season 4 of Ozark, just skip over this part. So how we ended season 4 was Javi found out that Darlene started doing heroin again against his explicit orders, and he goes and he kills Darlene, but he also kills Wyatt as well. And Ruth is now on the road to revenge because she's lost so much throughout this entire show, and this is the death that finally makes her snap. So that's how season 4 ends. Another big part of the last episode of part 1 was the deal that Navarro and Wendy and Marty had made for working with the FBI. So Marty and Wendy are still trying to balance that equation. If promises are broken, then that pretty much means that the entire Byrd family will be killed, and Javi is kind of a loose cannon. Navarro even admits it, that Javi may be his nephew, but he's a very loose cannon, and there's really no telling what he'll do. He's a lot more focused and a lot more dangerous than Navarro is, and we see that Navarro is actually betrayed by the FBI. No surprise there. So the Byrds once again are really struggling to maintain this relationship because it means a lot more than maybe Ruth realizes. To start this episode off, so Ruth is leaving the Byrds and she's just going through her mind of what her plan is to exact revenge on Javi. So she goes to Jonah and Charlotte and asks them, what does Javi look like and where can I find him? Of course, she's given the runaround by Wendy because Wendy is just really compulsive liar and doesn't want Ruth to do it. And Marty is really trying to talk Ruth off the ledge of doing this because I don't think she's really going to know how much this impacts the relationship that Marty and Wendy have had with Navarro and the Navarro cartel from the very beginning of the show up until now. But watching this first episode, Ruth is definitely beyond that. She's completely snapped, and she's going to exact her revenge no matter what the cost to herself or to the Byrds. So most of the episode focuses on Ruth. She is an amazing character. Julia Garner won an Academy Award for the performance of Ruth. All of you guys who've seen Ozark can definitely agree with me that Ruth is the best character in Ozark. But also another thing that Ruth was doing throughout the course of her revenge, she was going back through all of the memories that she's had with her cousin Wyatt and with her dad. And we see a small glimpse of when her mother was in her life. This episode really just focuses on Ruth's hardship and really trying to relate to Ruth on how much loss she has really gone through. And it's a tremendous amount of loss, and I don't really blame her for wanting to get revenge. I know it's going to impact the relationship between the Navarro cartel and the Byrd family. Also, the FBI is going to know most likely who did it, and the FBI is going to come after Ruth, but at this point I really don't think Ruth cares anymore. This episode felt a little long. Each episode is like 50 minutes long, which is a solid length for each episode. So, this episode just had a lot of packed into it. I'm just really excited to see the rest of the show play out. Ozark has been one of my favorite shows ever since it started on Netflix. I dare say it's the best show on Netflix right now. If you haven't seen Ozark and you want to and it looks good to you, I highly recommend you start watching it because, man, the first episode, you get into it right away. It sucked me in right away. I binge watched most of it because I just couldn't stop watching it. Slowly, building up the tension and building up what's going to happen next, and you always think the Byrds are going to get out, and then something happens and you drag back into the drama. And I also like the build on Jonah and Charlotte that they're doing. I love that they're bringing Jonah into more of the spotlight. He was always the kind of reserved, quiet character for most of the show, but he's definitely become a lot more vocal now. So is Charlotte, and I'm excited to see the brother-sister relationship between Charlotte and Jonah progress, and I know they're preparing for the worst as well. This episode, we didn't see Navarro at all. That's just because I think, the reason for that is they want to focus on Javi, because Javi is really the main head of the cartel now. So that's really the only thing. I was kind of hoping to see a little bit of Navarro, but that's alright. This episode was a great start to part 2 of season 4. I'm going to give this episode 8 out of 10 Mudflaps. Before you leave, drop in the comments below who's your favorite character from Ozark. And as always, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and I'll see you next time.